Started with that. I am enough. Have the confidence. Believe in yourself. Look, we're just going around that same theme. That is the central heartbeat of our lives, actually. Without that, there's nothing, right? I will share something on this note, borrowing from my previous life. I was in Sweden, and one of my employees, I had to ask her to stay during a 2-week period during summer. And I said, I'm going to give you a compensation. Please, don't go. Stay for these 2 weeks. We need you. And she looked straight in my eyes and she said, you can pay me $100,000, but that is not going to buy me the time I need to spend with my baby. That's the power of what we are talking about. At the end of the day, what matters? At the end of the day, when we are standing at the end of the runway, what's the most important thing? Today, like I said, this is not just a key. This is the difference between a dream and freedom. I'm going to transition with that, and we have a few minutes. I'm going to open it to the panel to ask a question you're sitting with that either we can answer or somebody in the audience probably can answer. I'm going to just open it up and you tell me whatever, whoever wants to take that first shot.
I think from the perspective of the industry, we should have some open discussions on such type of topics on a regular basis. Because there are many things which are pursued by the people and they behave in that fashion. But if these small things are taken care at the very first step, perhaps most of the misconceptions or the misunderstanding can be resolved very quickly. And this is a very important, and we always say, okay, quality, productivity, all these things. But I personally believe if you train your people, if you train your staff properly, that is more key for your business rather than the equipment, buildings, technology. These are the next things. And investing on human resources in a big way is a big challenge today. We say our country is 1.4 billion people, but still we don't have appropriate skills available and proper people available on the workshop floor to produce a quality which is internationally acceptable. So top management has to invest a lot, especially in developing the people. That's very important for me.
Thank you. Anybody else wants to add?
No, it's just a reflection, not a question. And I was watching, being part of one of the celebrated lectures of Mr. Bose, and I could see there was a slide which is an iceberg model, and where there was certain hidden cost. So once we start investing on how to make oneself powerful from within, and when that happens with individuals, coupled with leadership of that organization also being trained and not behaving just as a leader but start behaving as a coach, I think that's a wonderful environment of top down and bottoms up, where everybody feels it's a sustainable environment for, and provides that ecosystem for everyone to thrive in the future.
Brilliant. Become a coach, not a boss. A coach listens, a boss tells. When you tell, nobody wants to listen, they just want to run out. They say, I've got something else to do. Anybody else? please.
Yeah, so I would like to ask you, sir.
Yes.
So, with this changing workforce dynamics and technology, what would be the next evolution of PoSH to make this workplace really future ready? What do you think of it?
With the changing workforce
Dynamics.
and the technology,
Yeah.
what would be the next generation PoSH? I can give you my opinion, but I would invite Joy Lipi to give us your gray matter, your brain cells, please.
Yeah, so maybe as I was mentioning that the law is already evolving. The courts are realizing that, what's just there on paper is not enough. There has been a very detailed guideline with respect to what needs to be done. But having said that, I also feel that the legislature has to come forward. Judicial activism is one thing, that one matter goes to court and somebody sits there and somebody feels that something needs to be done. There has to be implementation happening. But I think the legislature will play a huge role, and I hope that the earlier judicial activism to this legislation of PoSH, I think the evolution will also come from the activism that we kind of see. So I see and I hope to see a lot of changes in that space, which will actually be state monitored and not just, every year you file something in your annual report. It will go beyond that, is what I foresee, keeping an eye on what's happening in that space. So that would be my answer.
Thank you. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me? The microphone wasn't working. We will close it, but I'm going to take your permission, I'm going to share with you all a very small story, which is very inspirational. It's a story of a little girl who had great dreams in her eyes, but those were very difficult because she was born in a very poor family, in poverty in a village. Education wasn't possible for her because that happens to other people. Her job was to become a housemaid in one of our homes. And she was silent, she was invisible, and she stayed that way till when she became 21 years of age, she dared to walk into a classroom. And she was ridiculed. "You are too old," they said. "You are past your prime. Go back there. That's where you belong." And her heart sank, but her fire never died. She failed, but didn't give up. Then one day, a door opened, and that door took her through an international airline, and today she works for an international airline. Archana Patel also owns a flat in Mumbai today, and she has one of these as well. It opens the doors to her flat. With that, I'm going to thank my panel. I invite you to thank my panel to make this such a great success.